poppin'? So today, I'll be reading The Financial Literacy for All, one of my favorite books. It's about disrupting struggle, advancing financial freedom, and building a new American middle class by John Hope Bryant. And the chapter I'll be reading today is What's the Issue and Why Should We Care? Okay, let's go. Okay, imagine in the desert, shimmering in the heat, promising relief and sustenance. You race toward it, only to find it vanishing as you get closer. This is what the financial landscape looks like for a significant number of Americans. A mirage of prosperity conceals the stark reality, lack of savings, lack of investments, and a lack of retirement preparedness. And underneath all of that, a lack of any understanding. Remember, to live in a system of free enterprise and not understand the rules of free enterprise must be the very definition of slavery. And that came from civil rights icon Reverend Andrew Young. Credit is a tool, not a toy. Here's the reality that we must all grapple with. We live in a world that demands financial savvy from us at every turn, yet provides scant education or resources to equip us with the skills we need. It's a paradox that our education system has yet to fully confront. As a result, a vast majority of us are thrown into the deep end of financial decision making with little more than a life jacket of common sense. With this profound lack of financial education, even the most fundamental financial decisions can feel like navigating balancing a checkbook, understanding what an interest rate truly means, or deciphering the legal in a mortgage apartment or mortgage agreement. Tasks that should be routine seem complex. Let's talk specifically about credit. Credit, how easily it's available and how we've encouraged to use it, has played a crucial role in our financial lives, for better and worse. That's the irony to credit. It has access to resources, opening doors to opportunities that might have been out of reach otherwise. Credit means a student can afford a university education that a budding entrepreneur can start his or her dream business, and that young family can buy their first home. Credit is undoubtedly a powerful tool for growth, but our easy access to credit is way too easy to abuse. For example, as a bondage for financial strain, or as a way to live beyond our means, or as I like to say, to write checks that we can't cash. Credit cards are synonymous with convenience. In this post-COVID-19 age of Apple Pay and cashless payments, thank you for viewing, y'all. That's a necessity that's become ingrained in our everyday lives. But remember, Credit cards are essentially a loan. And as with any loan, strings are attached: interest rates, minimum payments, and late fees. Not to mention the impact on your credit score if you don't keep up with your payments. It's way too easy to forget about all those strings when you're swiping or tapping for purchases. The stats around credit card debt are sobering. They are why I do the work I do at Operation Hope. According to the Federal Reserve, total credit card debt in the United States was more than $1.8 trillion in 2023, with the average American household carrying a balance of about $6,088. Let's put that number in perspective. The average credit card has an interest rate of around 23%. So if you only make the minimum monthly payment, say $200 on $6,000 credit card balance, it would take you almost 4 years to pay off the balance, and you'll pay over $3,000, 50% of the balance in interest. And that is if you don't make any purchases with that card. We've let credit creep into the fabric of our financial lives, often without a clear understanding of the long-term impact. We've let the convenience of credit overshadow the cost. And that's a part of the equation we can't afford to ignore any longer. Society has transformed at breakneck speed over the past few decades. Technology has advanced, markets have evolved, and the global economy has more interconnected than ever before. But amidst these rapid changes, our approach to financial education has been stuck in a time warp. We are sailing through a 21st century financial storm with the 20th century maps and compasses. Our lack of financial literacy is not an individual failing. It's a societal crisis, a crisis that has ripple effects on our communities, our economics, and ultimately our collective future. That's why we need to take collective action after all. Knowledge is not just power, it's freedom. And it's about time we all had access to it. We need to end financial education into the fabric of our learning systems, starting in our classrooms and extending all the way to our workplaces. This is not just an ideal, it's a necessity. It's a civil rights issue of our generation. I have dedicated myself to this mission, and I believe that with the right resources, determination, and commitment, we could start a new era of financial literacy and freedom. The fallout of our widespread financial ignorance is alarming. We are a generation burdened with unprecedented levels of debt, struggles are struggling under the weight of financial obligations we are all equipped to handle. But let's make one thing clear. The individual is not the culprit here. For many, credit and therefore debt has become a necessity rather than a choice. A means to fill the gap between stagnant wages and rising living costs. And for many, a means to education and increased economic opportunity. And without the guardrails a financial education in place, this financial tool can feel like a toy, easy to play with and without consequence. It's also important to know that credit missteps can happen to anyone who is either unaware or even just not paying attention to what's happening around you. It's happened to me. Not even a decade ago, the so-called financial literacy guru guy. I had taken out a home equity loan for just about $9,000, and the interest rate was somewhere around 14%. The payments were hefty for me at the time, about $1,000 a month. Years later, I was still paying on this term loan. When a very successful friend of mine suggested that I take out a $1 million line of credit under much more attractive terms, he understood finance better than I ever could, and I should have just shut up and listened. Instead, I dismissed the idea out of hand and told him, if I can't afford to make these $1,000 home improvement payments, then I can't imagine how I can keep up a $1 million line of credit. My friend had to lovingly set me straight. He explained that because of the way this particular commercial line of credit was structured and the rate at that time tied to such transactions, the monthly payments for the $1 million line of credit would be just about the same as a consumer term loan for my now $75,000 balance. I did the math, was astounded, my bad. He was excuse me. He was absolutely correct, and I learned little by little to commit to always be a lifetime learner. That precisely why God gave us 2 ears and one mouth, so that we would listen twice as much as we talk. And by the way, I took the $1 million low interest commercial line of credit and I paid off that high interest consumer term loan in a hurry. This is but one example of the power of financial literacy in our daily lives. Financial missteps like my own result in lost opportunities to build wealth, reduce unnecessary financial stress, and improve quality of life. But remember, this is not a blame game. It's about identifying the problems to pave the way for solutions. Together, we can shift to do a more financially educated cultural mindset. We can rewrite our financial success story, and it starts with gaining our financial literacy. Thank y'all for viewing. I appreciate it. Later or tomorrow, I'll be reading the civil rights issue of our generation. I appreciate y'all for viewing. This is the Financial Literacy for All. It's about disrupting the struggle, advancing financial freedom, and building a new American middle class by John Hope Bryant. I recommend this book, y'all. If y'all want to learn about finances and saving money. Hope you guys enjoy your day. God bless.